Hi, I'm Bette Hochberger, CPA, CGMA, and today we're going to break down those pesky IRS notices that sometimes you get in the mail. Now, why do you get a notice from the IRS? Well, it could be a couple of things. First off, maybe you owe them money. That's probably the biggest reason why you end up getting mail from the IRS, those little love letters saying, hey, by the way, you need to pay us. Sometimes the IRS will make a change to your tax return. Maybe you're getting a larger refund or a smaller refund. Sometimes there could be inquiries. For example, if you've got a Schedule C, sole proprietor, single member LLC business, the IRS might say, hey, how do we know that all these expenses are legit? Can you send us some documentation to prove it? It's like a little mini audit. They might need to make sure you are who you say you are, or dependent you're claiming is actually related to you, things like that. And sometimes they send you letters where they're just like, it's taken us a long time to get to something to help you, like respond to a letter or something like that, and we need more time. So sometimes the IRS contacts you to tell you that they need more time. So if you do get these letters in the mail, and they're scary when they come, I get them all the time for clients, and they still like make my heart skip a beat every once in a while. But the first thing is open it and read it. Okay, do not stick it in a drawer and forget about it and hope that the IRS dissolves before anyone realizes you never got around to dealing with the situation. You have to read it. Next, you have to see, do they want you to respond, right? Because if they want you to respond, there's usually a deadline. It's not usually like, oh, yeah, whenever you get around to it. Usually they'll say, as of X date, you need to pay us, or you need to respond, or you need to do XYZ, right? And there's a lot of steps that can come after this that might rely on you responding in time the first time. If they say, oh, hey, you owe us, a crap ton of money, and you're like, oh, gee, where am I going to get all this money from? You can, if you can pay it off, you can pay it. But if you don't have the money to pay it, you have some options, right? They might want you to go and set up a payment plan with them. In some instances, if you qualify, maybe you need to put in an offer in compromise, which is basically asking the IRS to give you a break on your taxes. Doesn't happen often. If you are qualifying for that, it's a very, very special situation. It does not apply to most people. What else? So sometimes, you get these things, you might need to keep copies of them, or you might need to provide information to the IRS. Like I said before, if they're at questioning things like, your expenses or your deductions, things like that. But these letters also, important to keep them. Sometimes these letters from the IRS can even be something like an identity protection pin. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to electronically file a client's taxes and I get a notice, oh, hey, you need their ID pin. And people are like, what's that? And they got it in the mail. They forgot about it. They stuck it in that drawer with all the other IRS stuff. But that could be a problem. So hold on to those letters. Definitely send them over to your CPA. Have them take a look at it for you. Sometimes the language is really confusing. Sometimes even for us, it can be confusing, especially if the IRS, which this is happening more recently during the apocalypse than before, you might get things in a strange order. Usually there's a specific order that they will send a series of notices, and if they don't send them in that order, it can be real confusing. When you get a letter, it's like, hey, you owe $10,000. Remember how we told you? And you're like, no, I never got a letter before. So definitely seek out professional help if it's not something that you can handle easily on your own. Another thing is, don't panic. Even if you owe the IRS a lot of money, or it feels like, they're coming to arrest you. They probably aren't. Things do not move quickly with the IRS. Yes, there's deadlines on these things. Yes, you need to respond. But if you don't do it, boom, that day, you'll probably be all right. You can even usually ask them for like a 30-day hold on your account while you go and find your CPA, find your documents, whatever you need to do to resolve the situation. You can usually get that time if it's reasonable. Now, the other thing I'm going to say is I have seen many times clients get letters from the IRS saying, hey, there's a problem, we're changing your return. And it could be that the IRS is wrong. So yet another reason to not ignore these letters, open it, read it, hand it off to your CPA. I tell my clients all the time, please, if you get any of these letters, send them to me. I can often handle them, resolve them quickly. A lot of times you might not actually owe the tax that they say you owe, which is always a happy occasion for anyone when you find out you don't actually owe that extra tax. And a lot of times, you don't even need to call the IRS. You don't need to get on the phone with them or anything. Sometimes they, can just do it by mail, write up a letter, or you just have to sign something on that notice, and you can handle it that way. No one wants to call the IRS because you're going to sit on hold for like 2 hours, and that really sucks, especially when they disconnect you at the end of that holding time. And the one thing, though, you need to be careful of is watch out for scams, right? You get the phone calls. If someone calls and tells you that's the IRS, it's not the IRS. They don't call you like that. Sometimes you can get fake mail that looks like it's from the IRS. Just be real careful. Again, you're only ever going to get a letter from them. Don't respond to emails. Don't respond to phone calls, faxes. I don't know, whatever other crazy method people have of trying to scam you. It should have like your name, your social, the type of tax form it's for, things that will let you see that absolutely, yes, this is from the IRS. And again, if you're not sure, contact your CPA, right? That's part of why we're here. We're here to help you guys navigate the ins and outs of dealing with the IRS. So I hope that breaks it down a bit for you. Hope it makes it a little less scary. Remember, don't panic, right? If you get them, open it, read it, send it to your CPA. We're happy to deal with these things. And I hope it makes a little bit more sense to you when you get an IRS notice now. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Maybe I can even answer some for you here. We'll see you next time.